All right, today we're talking about something really, really cool. It's a fan theory that's so good it basically fixes one of the biggest, most infamous plot holes in 80s cartoon history, and it does it with a style inspired by modern hits like X-Men '97. So, if you've ever watched the original G1 Transformers cartoon, you have got to have asked yourself this question, right? One minute, you've got Optimus Prime and his core crew on the Ark, and then, bam! All of a sudden, the Autobot base is absolutely packed with new faces.
Yep, this is what the fans lovingly call the suddenly there problem, and it is a classic continuity gap. We're talking about a whole bunch of new characters just materializing right in the middle of the season with zero explanation from the show. And I mean, just look at this. The change was massive. You start Season 2 with the crew we all know and love, Prime, Ironhide, Bumblebee, the classics. Then, just a handful of episodes later, the roster has completely exploded. You've got Perceptor, Blaster, Grapple, Hoist, Warpath. The list just goes on and on. They literally just appear.
And this isn't some new thing people are complaining about. Nope, this has been a fun little puzzle for fans for decades. People have been coming up with all sorts of theories for years trying to figure out, okay, so how did this actually happen?
And that brings us to this absolutely brilliant fan solution that's been making the rounds. It's an idea for a hypothetical series that fills in all the gaps, but, and this is the best part, without rebooting a single thing, let's talk about Transformers 85.
The whole concept is genius in its simplicity, right? You don't start over, you don't reboot, you just create a series of lost episodes that would slide right into the original Season 2 timeline. Imagine it. Same animation style, same vibe, maybe even some sound-alike voice actors, finally telling the story we never got.
Okay, so how does this theory actually solve the roster problem? Well, it all starts by showing us just how much trouble the Autobots were really in at that point in the war. I mean, think about it from their perspective. The situation was getting pretty grim. Megatron's army was getting bigger and badder. He had triple changers, he had the Coneheads, and of course, he had the Constructicons, who could form the terrifying Devastator. The Autobots, they were totally outgunned, pretty much just relying on the raw power of the Dinobots who, well, they're powerful, but they're not exactly reliable. So Optimus Prime does the only thing he can. He sends out a desperate distress signal, a real Hail Mary into deep space. And what do you know? Someone answers. First, the little guy, Cosmos, shows up. But right behind him is the cavalry, the absolutely massive, the mighty Omega Supreme. And that is how they get there. See, Omega Supreme isn't just a giant robot guardian. He's a transport ship, and he's carrying a whole new batch of Autobot reinforcements. But here's where the theory gets really clever and adds some amazing character drama. The old guard, especially someone like Ironhide, is not happy about it. He takes one look at the new recruits and is just totally unimpressed, saying, "Oh, Prime, we needed soldiers, and instead we get scientists, communicators, and architects. It's perfect. It creates instant, believable conflict that feels completely true to his character."
And let's be real, you can kind of see where he's coming from, right? These new guys aren't exactly frontline warriors. You've got Perceptor, the scientist, Blaster on communications, Grapple and Hoist, who are literally architects. This is the specialist crew. But this sets up a great dynamic where Optimus Prime basically argues that maybe, just maybe, what they need right now isn't more soldiers, it's more thinkers.
And this is what takes this whole idea from being a simple continuity fix to something truly special. It doesn't just answer the how, it uses that answer to add all this new depth to the world and the characters we already know and love.
Okay, so to get this next part, we need to talk about something called a subspace pocket. It's an idea that's actually already in the G1 cartoon. It's how Optimus Prime's trailer just vanishes into thin air whenever he transforms. It's basically a little pocket dimension that some Transformers can access.
So here is the absolute genius part. Remember how Omega Supreme is always running out of power in the show? It always felt kind of random, right? Well, this theory has an answer. What if, to transform into his rocket mode, he has to stuff his entire rocket base into a massive subspace pocket? That would take a colossal amount of energy, which perfectly explains why he's always running on empty. It brilliantly turns a weird character quirk into a logical, awesome part of his powers.
And it doesn't stop there. This whole framework opens the door for so much more cool stuff. We could finally see ideas from the toy line make it to the screen, like Scramble City, where the combiners could swap their arms and legs.
And it even gives a chance for forgotten characters like Skids to shine, maybe giving him a whole story arc with a human friend, showing us what a Transformer's life is like when they're not just fighting a war.
Okay, but hold on, because the theory gets even more ambitious. It doesn't just fix that one problem in Season 2, no, it sets up a way to fix the biggest time jump in the entire franchise, the massive 20 years between the end of the TV show and the start of the iconic 1986 movie.
Right, so you remember the movie, right? It just throws us forward 2 whole decades into the future, the year 2005. This Transformers 85 idea suggests the episodes could just keep going, filling in that 20-year gap and actually showing us how everything changed so dramatically between the show and the film.
So you're probably asking, where did guys like Hot Rod, Cup, RC, and Ultra Magnus even come from? Well, the answer is just as elegant. Sometime during those missing 20 years, another transport shows up, the magnificent Skylynx, and he brings the next wave of heroes, the ones we finally meet in the movie. It's a perfect handoff from one generation to the next. And this is the real magic. These lost episodes could finally give us the origin stories for everything in the movie. What's Autobot City? Well, it's the masterpiece built by those architects Grapple and Hoist. What about those moon bases? Maybe they're old robotic worlds that Optimus Prime moved into orbit. And the giant Citybot Metroplex? The theory gives them this super cool origin as an AI, an Autobot-induced artificial intelligence. It all just fits. It clicks into place perfectly. Just think about that for a second. 20 years. That's 2 decades of mysteries, of new characters, and massive locations that just appeared out of nowhere, all soft. All of it just wrapped up neatly and logically by this one incredible fan proposal.
And that's really why this Transformers 85 idea is so compelling. It's so much more than just plugging plot holes. It's done with so much love and respect for the original show. It uses the world's own rules to make it stronger, to make the characters deeper, and it's just a fantastic celebration of the whole G1 universe that we all love.
So that kind of leaves me wondering, every great story has these little gaps, right? These what-if moments. So what about you? What's a story from your past, a show, a movie, a book, whatever, that you think deserves its own brilliant continuity bridge to fill in all the missing pieces? Let me know what you think. Thanks for tuning in.